Howdy everyone, WafflesToo here again in a new version of Kerbal Space Program. They have released version 0.23, and in all due tradition I have started a new save and I'm diving into it. Now I took the liberty of off-screening all the early flights, the little suborbital hops, and jumping from one place to another. I didn't do anything special. I didn't go to any Easter eggs. I just, got a little bit of science going early on. So, but now we're getting to the point where I'm looking at a possible moonshot. So we're gonna rebuild our lander here into something that could probably land on the moon and take off again. That twin-engine side pod design for the lander, I used that in my last playthrough in 2.2, and that was my solution for building a small lander that could carry the scientific equipment along needed to perform the experiments on site. I've seen some that would probably be more stable. I've seen several 4-engine designs out there, but I think this is probably a better compromise between mass and ease of use. It's still got a relatively narrow footprint, so I can't say I would encourage a new player to use something like this. But once you really get a hang of landing vehicles on the moon, I think it does all right. But now we need to up the size of our launch vehicle so it can actually loft us out to lunar orbit before we can even think about landing. Now I haven't unlocked fuel pipes yet, so asparagus staging or parallel staging is right out. So we've got to go with a more traditional series staged rocket. So I think I'm gonna add basically a 4th stage here. So we'll have 3 main stages to get us into orbit and a small kicker motor, which should be able to get us out to lunar orbit. Now, just getting into orbit, we'll need about between 4.4 and 4.7 kilometers per second of delta V. A lot of I usually design for about 4.6 just for safety. I know I don't need that much, but I tend to I don't want to kill my Kerbals left and right, so I try to keep them alive. And failed launches are dangerous. Okay, that gives us 7.6, just a little more than 7.6 kilometers per second, and that should be plenty to perform the entire mission. We'll go ahead and hire a whole new core, and Jeb's had enough fun. Let's stick someone new in the capsule, someone who's taking a real risk here. Kelvin Kerman, welcome to the space program. Better buckle up. And here we are, shooting off at about 2 G's, and boy, look at him! Look at Kelvin. He is cool as a cucumber. I don't even think I've seen Jeb keep his head like this. He's not hysterical. He's not laughing. He's just sitting back at 2 G's without a care in the world, just chilling like a villain. Anyway, I think I found my new favorite Kerbal. Okay. Luckily, I just can't believe how quickly all my mods got updated for this for the new version. I was astounded. Even the ones that didn't have full releases had experimental stability releases, and so I was able to just jump right in, and here we go. And I note with some dismay that one engine is running out of fuel far, far faster than the other 4. And I'm afraid I know which engine it is. Yeah. That was the one with vectoring thrust. Kelvin, hang on, buddy. Okay, our goal... Okay, if you look at the flight engineer display, our goal is to just keep our time to apoapse between 30 seconds and a minute. 40, keeping it right at 45 seconds is best. And all I got to, yeah, okay, we can stage that off, and whew, we have control again. Let's correct our our horribly misaligned flight path. Now I've found that if we keep to the time to apoapsis, like I said, right around 45 seconds, between 30 and 45, it seems to provide an easy to follow and very fuel efficient path into orbit. I can't really explain why. I don't have the math skills to back it up. All I know is when I follow that path, I have more fuel left in the tanks than when I don't. And we're already down to the kick stage, which I was hoping to preserve for our Mooner insertion burn. I blame running out of fuel in that center stage early, so we just wound up dragging that dead engine into orbit and basically losing control of the rocket. I couldn't steer, so we went off course. We wound up doing a lot of steering corrections, which is just not efficient at all. I have signaled our plight to mission control. Their advice is to continue as planned. They're evaluating the situation and will update us as necessary. So for now, our continued mission is just to get into orbit, and we'll see how much is left of the vehicle's energy supply once we get there. Now, controlling time to apoapse, you got two options for doing it. One is with the throttle. You can put the throttle up and down to do it. The other is just like in a space plane. Dip the nose down towards the horizon to pull it in to decrease the time, and pick the nose up away from the horizon to increase the time. And now you can just see it shoot away, and there. We're gonna go ahead and coast out to our park and then circularize, and we'll decide the fate of the mission from there. So I'll see you on the far side. And we've coasted up to our apoapse, and now we're going to circularize, and I'm going to kind of show you the trick, the secret to a perfectly circular orbit, if that sort of thing's important to you. Get your time to apoapsis right around 10 seconds in front of you, and kind of keep it there. And look at that. We are within, what is that, like 110 meters? Anyway, mission command is... Okay, I've been advised that they're scrubbing the landing portion of the mission. They do not feel there's sufficient safety margin left in the vehicle, which, even though mathematically it's still capable of performing a landing mission, it's going to be tight. And if anything goes wrong, he could be stranded, or worse, we could lose all the science and not bring it home. Oh, and yeah, he could be killed too. So the other reason they're giving is we just don't have enough scientific instruments on board the vehicle to make the risk worth it. We've got 2 goo canisters and 1 material bay. We will use the one goo canister in deep space, the other goo canister in the material bay in high Mooner orbit. And that they feel that will maximize our returns on the mission for a minimum amount of risk. And there goes the kick stage. Now we're using the lander's own fuel to bring us out. Now I'm looking at how much electrical charge we have already used, and I am a little bit nervous about how quickly our charge is depleting. Apparently, I've got TAC life support installed, and apparently running the heaters and air conditioners is consuming power faster than I anticipated it would. So we're going to have to be very, very careful with our electric charge, because we do not have any solar panels yet, and those little LV909s do not have an alternator, so they can't recharge the ship's batteries either. But you know what? We're gonna just for fun set that set that up as a free return. So we, in theory anyway, won't have to use the engines at all. Okay, coast out a little bit, take a high orbit report. We'll go ahead and activate the antenna and risk sending that data back so we can take another report in high lunar orbit. But that burned almost half our charge, so I'm a little bit nervous about maybe that wasn't the best call to make. And now we'll go ahead and sail the rest of the way out to the moon until we get our encounter. I love watching this part, just sailing out there. I'm trying not to be in time compression mode when we cross the boundary, because that can it's well known that errors can occur. But it looks like we made it, and we'll go ahead and run all of our experiments. Now, I've also got deadly reentry installed, and I'm a little worried that those goo canisters may not survive the trip back to Kerbin. So Kelvin has been instructed to EVA out and retrieve the contents of the canisters and tuck them safely away inside the capsule. So even if those are burned off, we will still have our data. Whoa! And another well-known bug. His EVA skills are being put to the test. Okay, one set of goo canister material is stowed. Now we'll go ahead, retrieve the sample from the other canister. Now retrieving the samples has the exact same effect as transmitting does, in that the canister is spent. It can't be reused until it's recycled at a space lab, which we haven't unlocked yet. So they changed science spam with the antennas is just no longer a viable tactic. Which, yeah, I gotta admit, I like it. I have to plan a lot harder and a lot more carefully this way. And now we are on return trajectory, and our electric charge is dangerously low, and I can already guarantee it won't make it. Kelvin has suggested he's going to shut off the main circuit breaker in the capsule and preserve that electric charge. And he's just gonna endure one cold, unpleasant ride in the capsule back. He is forced to run the heaters a few times just because it is just too far away to make it without it. And we pick up a little phantom force glitch. It's I noticed this in 2.2, that if you get parts clipped together, it can cause phantom rotations. I'm not sure where it's picking up any clipping here, so I'll have to maybe just be as simple as the engineer chip and the parachute. I don't know. I'll fiddle with it later. But here we are back at Kerbin, high upper atmosphere, and we've got all this fuel on board, so we might as well use it to slow our descent and save some wear and tear on the vehicle. And we are coming in pretty hot, so I've got the power. I'm going to use it. There's no sense in taking a risk of burning up the capsule. And looks like we're in a good shape. We'll just write it on down. The goo canisters are not heating up that badly yet. We'll see if we get some fireworks here. The engines look like they're getting very hot, so we'll go ahead and jettison them. They've done their job, and I don't want all that highly explosive propellant next to the capsule if they decide to explode. Landing gear down, and we are now terminal. Touchdown in just a few seconds. And that concludes our first flyby of the moon in this playthrough. Kelvin Kerbin is now the highest, fastest, furthest flying Kerbin in the space program. Touchdown, and we're home. And let's look at all that sweet, sweet science. That's it for this episode. Catch everyone next time. Ciao.